And the complement to this visibility are those online groups where you know that all the people in that group, you don't know them, but you trust that they have come as participants, they have accepted, they come because they have registered in the website. So there is a relation between the website and the WhatsApp groups that have been created. It's safe, it's safer, it's not open completely. So the idea is to experiment these possibilities of having a combination of a website that gives the structure of the space, who is in, what are the activities, and WhatsApp groups that give space of intercommunication to people that I don't know, but I trust they are in the space as I am. So this is one direction, and so this forum has been an experiment on this because the groups exist, and let's see how they will last after the event. They are it's an investment, it's an organizational investment, and if the people trust that these spaces are interesting for them, they stay. If they don't, they go out. They say the event is over, I go out, or the event is over, I stay because I receive information that's interesting for me. So that's one. And of course, in the forum, there is another challenge, and I end up with this. It's the communication. The idea is that communicating from my organization is part of participating in the forum. So how does the forum provide a stimulation for organization to communicate about what they do in the process of the forum, and what they communicate, not media. Alternate media are also participants in the forum, and they can say we make a coverage. But it's not the same as when the organization makes itself its own communication. So these are elements of to develop. I'm not going to develop that now, but it's an important part of having proactivity in communication, and it's also a teaching, learning experience, that in that safe space you can learn to communicate about what you do to others, and you can be helped, but it's basically you as organization which take the responsibility to communicate. It's just a little sketch, but it's interesting to combine this idea of social forum and the question of communication and digital networks.
I think that for the World Social Forum, there is a very vital need to continue the communication between organizations on a platform. So the World Social Forum, I think that is one suggestion, that to have a platform online. The platform is with different thematic, like what we are doing during the physical, forum. We do the thematics, we open the forums, we put one exchange area between organizations, and this, I think, can ensure a good development for the World Social Forum, because then the organization will not abandon the idea of the forum, and then there will be a kind of exchange and communication between the different organizations and militant individuals also, to develop ideas between the forum. I mean, to discuss the previous ideas, accumulated ideas from the forum, and then to prepare new ideas for the next physical forum. This is my one suggestion.
I'm Muhammad Yasif.
It's question to me, right?
Then we can call this era as a digital explosion. I think after WWE, World Wide Web. But one thing, one question to you, that how is affect this digital explosion to our social life? I mean, as a man, as a social being, in social relationship, direct relationship and social relationship, how it affects in our social life, in digital explosion.
So I am not qualified to answer this question. I'm not a sociologist, or I think we are all now immersed in the digital as part of our life. So of course we can have discussion on how we manage this. It's new for humanity, so it's a very deep question. I am not an expert of that. I think social forum or not social forum, we have the same. The idea is that we with the digital networks we can stay connected with people that are far away, and this, of course, previously you just had some people that got resources to travel. Now you can, once you have met someone one day and you have a physical relation, then you can stay 1 year without seeing, but you have you have something real because you know the person. So it kind of multiplies the possibility of contacts that you have. So it's really new and important. About what was Said saying, the concept of the forum is that in the open space, the elements for intercommunication are called activities. So an activity is a moment of dialogue organized by certain organizations where others can join. So these organizations have the logistical and political responsibility of this activity. So it's always in a clear context, because you know, if you are for instance here we are in an activity that's organized by 10 organizations who met through online and decided to create this thematic session. So we know who is convening this and who will make maybe a report or a documentation. So it's clear. So the forum brings this clarity. And what Said was saying is that, of course, it's possible to make online activities, not just physical activities. And so you kind of develop the model of the forum even when there is no physical event. So that's what is being tested, experimented. We are not a multinational corporation. We don't have money. So whatever we try, for instance, there is a website you can go. It's called www.join.wsforum.net. It's a little website that has been used for World Social Forum Online during the pandemics, and it can be still used. And here you can have activities any day, anywhere. It's not just Nepal, 15 to 18 February. So this is all a kind of learning process, and it's going slow because there is not a strategic decision by the corporate CEO. So it's going in its own way.
Do you have any other more queries related to Perry? If not, then
68,000 people have also been injured.
So, as proposed by our organization, we had an experience in fighting against misinformation and fake news. As I said in the introduction paper, the fake news and the misinformation was always there. It's a very old phenomenon. But starting from the pandemic, from COVID-19, the mainstream of this phenomenon has become stronger and stronger, and we have seen how the fake news have been spreaded on the pandemic and the treatment, the effect, the impact of this pandemic, and there were a lot of misinformation and misleading information. Unfortunately, this fake news has led to the death of many people, because many people took this information and practiced it during the pandemic in relation with health, in relation with treatment, and unfortunately thousands of people died because of this fake news and misinformation. In our organization, we have tried to see how this fake news and misinformation is spreaded on the social media, especially in the social media. A lot of people, especially young people now, they are taking all the information, the news from the social media, not from the classic. The classic mass media, like classic television, news, or radio, because the phone is in our hands and we are using it all the time, and it's very easy for us to go through social media like Facebook, Twitter, and X Twitter or Instagram. So a lot of people take information from this. But what's the risk? The risk is that propagandists, fanatics, and scammers mix up piece of information or stories and post it on the social media. And then these fanatic people or propagandists, when they spread this, when they put this information on social media, they try to make it as a truth, and the people intentionally or unintentionally take this information and retweet and repost this information. One friend from other friend by the sharing tool, and then the misinformation and the fake news are spreaded until one point that because of the quantity of posts and the quantity of sharings, this information, this information is far from the origin, from the propagandist and fanatic, and become one truth on the social media. And even after that, when the information is uncovered, the misinformation is uncovered, when we discover the truth, but still a lot of people do not reach the real information, do not reach the apologies or the correction of this information, because the damage is already done. So in our organization, from pandemic to Ukrainian war to Palestinian war against humanity that is going on in Palestine, we have seen how many fanatic organizations and fake news, fakers news, and this fanatic and fake news, they are not alone. They are not only individuals. They are corporations, institutions, and even states. They are investing in putting fake news and misinformation on the social media in order to keep their interest and in order to serve their narratives of the conflict. So what we suggest that when we receive one information, first of all, what we have to do is to search for comparative sources of information to be, sure that this information is coming from different sources with different ideological and national backgrounds. So this way we can have, a comparison between the information. Second of all, we need to search this information in different languages. I mean, we search for different languages, and we follow the source to the original languages. For this, we have to do for sure an effort to get the true information, and then we have to search for the opposite, I mean, opinion of this information. I mean, to search the other side, what's the other side is saying, and then you do a comparison also between what they are saying in this part of the conflict, what they are seeing in the other part of the conflict. I think this is 3 steps. They are simple, but they are. It seems that they are simple, but they are difficult because we don't have time to check and verify all the time this information, especially when it is on the social media in a very big quantity and the mainstream. So I think that is not easy. It's a simple step, but they are not easy because we are all the day, consuming information, and in this information there is good information and misinformation, and we have, by the way, by the time to develop a sense of criticism, a criticism tool in order to differentiate between information and misinformation and fake news. Thank you very much.
I'm representing Sri Lanka, and I think you have any act or anything to restrict this social media and communication and digital security, because in Sri Lanka recently 10 days back they have passed the Online Security Act. That is, they are trying to restrict the social media and Instagram and Facebook and so on. I think 2 years back we had a struggle, and that had been supported by social media and Facebook. So in order to abolish those things, they have bring a very strong act on this Online Safety Act. On that act, when we went to the court, and court had been asked to withdraw on about 13, there are 21 sections, and out of 21 they want to withdraw about 13 sections without responding the High Court order. They have passed that act and signed by Speaker. So again we are challenging that. It's going to be a big issue, and we expect there are some UN and Amnesty International, most of the human rights organizations have been asked the government to withdraw, but they are not ready to withdraw. It's going to be a big issue. I think later on we should have some kind of international solidarity action. So we will contact you all later, and we should have. There are so many issues are taking place in Sri Lanka, so we will need your support for the future actions.
And the organization we are working for is Atma Shakti Trust. So we are trying to build during COVID. We were the organization who were doing action at the ground, like protests, roadblocks. But during COVID we realized that we couldn't do it. So as a response to the COVID, we started building a platform called 12 minutes on Twitter, and then created a base of hashtag warriors to do some synchronized action. And it started taking, like, it was very organically grown platform, and now we have more than 11,000 hashtag warriors and we do storms every 12 o'clock for 12 minutes, and government kept waiting that who is going to be like today's target. And the best part is that government started taking it in a very positive way, because it's like the feedback and also talking about the fundamental rights. So here, like what you were sharing, we think that it is very important that the people at the ground should be empowered enough to understand what is right and wrong. Sometimes we just try to work on the top, but the fake news and everything is like their responsibility when they forward and when they share. But at the same time, building a cadre, at the ground who is aware, like we have created a cadre of hashtag warriors, and which is like trying to give them more and more information in a synchronized way. We have created a whole network of WhatsApp. So whenever we as an organization try to work on these issues, we are mostly focusing on what government is doing and what we can do as an organization. But it is very important to reach out to the grassroots, and how we can activate those empowered youth, or that they can decide what is right and wrong and can take the action accordingly. Yeah, that is something I wanted to do. On YouTube, it's called How to Become a Warrior. Why I become a warrior. So we have a link and we have a platform, 12 minutes. And now we have an intention to reach out to the most marginalized communities in India. We were working in one state, Odisha. Now we are in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, all the central belt of tribal people, to bring them together to do synchronized action. So we have a film on it, in which we have given all the explanation and how it is building up. And our intention is to make it more wider, to reach out to more and more such population, so that they can access this platform, and then take the benefit, they become part of it. You want to add something?
What we try to do is, like, when we are working with grassroots, it's very basic, their understanding. So their understanding and all is very basic. So what we have done, like as you were saying, that what is right, what is wrong, how to provide evidence. Like if you are tweeting about a problem, so how to provide that evidence, make a simple video, click a simple picture. Who's the person getting impacted by it? Click their picture. If they are able to speak, make a small, like maybe 30-second clip in their own words and post it. We have taught them how to tag the person who needs to know about it. Who are the people who can take action for correcting the path. So we have taught them, we have given them a whole list of who to contact. So it works well so far. So we have been able to kind of resolve 49% of the issues which have been raised through the platform. And when I say issues, within 2 years we have done about almost like roughly about 1800 issues approx, which has been raised. So yeah, that's the success rate. So now we are trying, and we are not trying to own the platform. We are trying to make it people's platform, so that, as Anish said, that they should know that it is theirs and the problem are theirs, and they should be able to mobilize that support with this online synchronized action. I'll share the details with you if you are interested.
200 words, and you can book links to more information. So you are most welcome to fill this, join the...
Now we'll move on. Now I request Umar.
Thank you so much. I would like to share a very brief experience of my small study with young people in Bangladesh. You know, Bangladesh is currently experiencing demographic dividend. Like most of our people are at now working age, and you know, young people are the larger group who uses internet in Bangladesh, and I think the scenario is same for the other parts of the world too. So this study, on the main objective of this study was to investigate the level of knowledge and awareness of tech-related law and policy among the young people of Bangladesh. We targeted the young people from especially Noakhali. I live in the coastal belt of Bangladesh, so you know, in compared to the other urban areas, so that these rural young people are quite underprivileged, like getting information, getting opportunities to learn new things. So we took these young people to assess their knowledge, that how much do they know about the cyber related law and policies of Bangladesh. So in Bangladesh there are several tech-related laws. Some of them they are to govern the development, deployment, and use of technology. Actually, so the acts are like the National Information and Communication Technology (ICT) policy, Cyber Law, Digital Security Act, and Information Communication Technology Act. To encourage the growth of development of information technology to control the instances of abuse of the cyberspaces, they say actually. So there are two in every act of legislation there are two parts of legislation that is good for the publics, and that some of the sections are bad for the publics. I know you must be heard about the Digital Security Act of Bangladesh. I am not going to share that much about the act individually, but yeah, there are pros and cons of this security act. So we assess the knowledge of the young people. How much do they know about this? From one side, whenever young people know about the laws and policies, so they can control their actions, like what are they doing on the internet, what are they doing for themselves, and what are their reaction to other people. So whenever a person is knowledgeable, a person is concerned, a person is well informed about the laws and policies, so he or she is aware of their activities, and at the same time they are protecting the others, right of the others to, like not bullying to anyone, like not harming any the digital rights of other people. So the study included yeah, so the study included their social media uses, the pattern they follow to use the social media, the means of social media they use for as communication or just like an entertainment. Our finding was that that revealed a concerning lack of awareness and knowledge regarding cyber-related law and policies. This is We think this is crucial for young people to understand the social and ethical implementation of tech-related policies. So this kind of lack of understanding, which we found at the study, this may lead to cybercrime, privacy violation, and misinformation, which can have significant impacts on our lives. You must be know that some people or some teachers were arrested because of their Facebook post. Like in our country, this is a quite concerning. Whatever you are putting on your social media, you need to be aware of that, because you never know, you are posting something on social media against something, maybe you are talking about your rights or not, but you might get arrested the next morning. So yes, you need to be aware about that, and at the same time the young people need to know about this kind of harming policies and acts, so that they can raise their voices for reformation. So yeah, so this was the finding. And another thing is that we do talk a lot about the laws and policies, like its benefits, or its harmful practices, but we do not actually work with the people who are using the internet, who are the real consumer of this type of digital services or digital communications. So in the CSOs or other organizations working in Bangladesh, so they do have focus on the policy level or act or the legislation level, but there are a lack of activities with the young people or the people, so that they can understand more about the scenario and they can raise their voices for better reformation. So that was the finding of our study, and I would like to thank you Digitally Rights for giving me that opportunity. The study was conducted with support from Digitally Rights. I work for PRAN, and that study was supported by Digitally Rights Limited in Bangladesh. So I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity to conduct the study in my community, and I would love to thank you all to hear me. Yeah, thank you. I will share some stories of paper cutting with you. Yeah, later.
Yeah, you can.
My name, for everyone who's coming later, my name is Roman Gautam. I'm from Kathmandu, but I work as a regional journalist. I think my perspective is very much the perspective of a journalist rather than a political activist or a social activist like so many others here. So much to be said, of course, in terms of disinformation and many other things, but I think that I'll speak from the experience that I have and the perspective that I have as a regional journalist. I run a regional magazine called Himal South Asian for about 35 years now. It is a relatively old magazine. It's been covering the region. It's always been a small magazine, a small team, but it's always stood for, well, first and foremost, independent journalism. Also, a lot of pro-democracy movements and civil society movements. There's a remarkable archive of, I think, the entire history of social organization for progressive and democratic causes in South Asia in the Himal archive, which is on our website for anybody who would like to take a look at www.himalmag.com. But I think that the perspective that I bring to this in terms of the question of communication and media freedom as well is really what's happening in South Asia. It's hardly an isolated case. Of course, there is a crisis of media and independent media across the world, but I think that just the examples that we've heard of here, Cybersecurity Act in Bangladesh, the crackdown against Prothomalo right now, Sri Lanka, we were hearing about what's happening with the online security bill. India, I think, is probably something that maybe we are not talking about enough. The way that the media there is being squeezed basically to death. There is, of course, question marks over the decline of Indian democracy, but I think that I work from Delhi, so I think I have a closer view of just how much. And I mean, you also know, I mean, Kerala, of course, is a slight exception, perhaps, but even there, I think you feel the chilling of the media there. Yeah. So I think that the perspective that I bring, I think, is really to talk about. I think something that needs to be higher on all of our agendas at a regional level. Certainly, the crisis of regional media and independent media across our region. And of course, internationally, I think something we need to be speaking about much more is the global crisis of the media. Of course, there is the question of fake news. There is the question of corporate-controlled social media and how that the algorithms are spreading certain kinds of views over others. But I think even the fundamental work of reporting, of editing, of publishing credible, well-researched, investigative, independent journalism is something that I think has been in decline for many, many, many reasons, of course, political, economic, digital, and otherwise. And I think that, if there is one thing that I can add to this conversation is to maybe ask everyone to take away that thought that I think, we don't talk enough about the global media crisis. And I think that that's something that we should all be speaking more about. And thank you to everyone here for the opportunity to speak about this. And also just wanted to say that we are doing an event tomorrow, 11 a.m. at Ratna Rajrasmi campus, which is nearby here. At 11 a.m. we are going to have an event speaking specifically about the global media crisis. And discussing the causes and lessons that we can draw from each other. We have a really good, really experienced, and really international panel, an Indian journalist working out of Hong Kong, a Brazilian journalist who has a lot of international experience, a Syrian journalist working out of forced exile now in Europe. So just wanted to invite all of you as well, especially anybody who's interested in media and journalism. Please join us tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. If you're curious to know more about the event, just come and say hi, and I can pass on more details. And yeah, hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Roman was the first real media person in this conversation, and thank you for this. Your presence is kind of diversifying, because we were a little bit focusing on digital networks, because this is accessible to everyone, where media is something else. It's more, but it's important. So thank you. We wanted to connect with the Federation of Nepalese Journalists, but we couldn't really hook them. So maybe it will be for another time. Please, if you have questions to Roman, and then we will go to the last part, which is a proposal of statements that would come out of certain groups, not everyone. It's really free to opt in. No.
Say it is quite realistic in the context of Bangladesh. In our Bangladesh, the role of media workers, actually they are being controlled by this kind of acts of cybersecurity acts. So what a journalist should do to bring the reality, to bring the truth in front of our eyes, but because of these kinds of oppressive acts and regulations, so these journalists are being just journalists in name of the journalists, actually. So they are not being able to provide us the information, or provide us the truth, what they should provide to us. Yeah, so the scenario is quite difficult for journalists, I guess, in this subcontinent. Yeah.